Hi, I'm Dr. Anthony Basham from the SCTE, and I'm president of the SCTE. The SCTE, just to get it into what it actually is, the SCTE is an 80-year-old organization. We started as cable relay engineers just after the Second World War, where we were getting together and finding out how to get a relay station working. And a relay station was a way of just communicating through the whole of the UK. That started getting bigger, and we started going into communications, telecommunications, cable communications, and now we're anything that can be used as a broadband communication medium. And our idea is to make engineers better somehow. No matter what kind of engineer, the idea is to make any engineer better. Looking from the SCTE side, the biggest, most disruptive trends we're going to be looking at and going forwards with, at the moment, the trends are machine learning, AI, and information, the transmission of information, which is extremely quick at the moment. So anything can happen. But when we start looking at AI, if we take this just in the broadcast sense, it's actually helping us to be able to do things quicker. We're not taking away the human element. We're just adding it as another tool. As we've done before with how do you get feedback from things, how do you check feedback, color grading, how do you grade properly? This is just another tool that adds value to it. And again, with machine learning, we can be able to do proactive network maintenance a lot easier. So you don't need that person to go in and check. You can have a message in the morning. You need to check this because we saw this through the night or whenever. AI never sleeps. That's a great benefit to some of us. Most of us need those 8 hours sleep. So I only see that as another tool in our toolbox to help us get through. Disrupting, I can see information. Information right now is moving around the world so quickly. If something happens locally, as for example, in Denmark, the zoos were asking for animals they could use to feed in the zoos. These were pets. This went around the world within 15 minutes. And half an hour later, everybody in the world knew Danish zoos were feeding pets to the zoo animals. That's how I see information disrupting, where before you had time to think, you weren't on call 24/7. That's where the world is right now. So that's how I see disruption pulling in. Looking at IBC this year, we're going into the 100 years of television, which is of course one of the backbones behind IBC. What is broadcast about? It's getting something from one end in front of the camera to in front of you in the television. This would never have worked without John Logie Baird going around and playing, getting the first communication from Scotland all the way down to London. This would never have worked. And now this is 100 years ago. Think how quickly television has developed in 100 years. How is this going to help us think in what's going to develop now? Let's think just about the internet. No one used the internet 30, 40 years ago. Now it's constant. I can remember sitting there programming in BASIC and writing the actual programs to use. This is only 40 years ago. Now you expect programs to be readily available. You can download within seconds, you can adapt. This is also how I see the world of moving a lot quicker. So we're going to want more immersion in things. So my sort of goal would be to be totally immersed in the broadcast. So you feel like you're actually there, things are happening around you. You're getting more inputs than you would usually do. That's why I see sort of the television side developing. But I can also see broadcast developing quicker. So we can have adaptive things, maybe sign language, immediate sign language on the side, immediate translation. It's already nearly there. It's not as good as it could be, but it's nearly there. I can see this adapting a lot more, but it's also, will we be us in a room, in the television room, watching television together? Or will we be separate entities watching television by ourselves together in a room? That's also how I see things changing and how it adapts quickly. Will we get neural inputs? Will you be tactile inputs? Will it be anything else? There are also possibilities. But let's have a look at this. Having a screen is something we're all using. I don't see it developing more than that. maybe a different way of getting that screen to be around you, more a way of getting it in, but it's also difficult. How do you get this to go straight in through the eyes? The eyes have a limitation. What happens for those that don't have eyes? I see them adding the value to us, the people that can't use their senses the way everybody else does, giving more input to us. Being one of the partners and being on the Owner's Pavilion is a place where we also want to meet and try and develop this to show that broadcast is more than what people think it is, a camera and a television. There's a lot more to it. And this is where we'd like to get the engineers more involved with our thought processes, our way of working, how we can help each other. Let's face it, broadcast has not changed in 1,000 years. Someone says something, you listen. The only difference is the medium. So before someone shouted, you heard it. Now you're getting the shout through a microphone, being compressed, being decompressed, put in through a speaker, and then to you. The things are still the same. It's someone one end to someone the other end. This is where we'd like to add the engineers to come in and see more. We're celebrating 80 years. But if you think about it, 100 years of TV, 80 years of broadcasting, in the sense that John Logie actually tried it to get something from one end to the other. The SCTE, we're going towards IBC, which is the showcase of the year for anybody in this world and feeling of broadcast. Is for the industry, by the industry. We want to keep that mentality going. This is where the industry meets. This is where the industry showcases themselves and where the industry can network and get used to each other and grow those relationships. We want to make sure we're not just on a Zoom call. We want to actually be there where we can see the micro reflections, see the happiness, and see what we're actually doing for the world. It makes a big difference. So I'm really looking forward to IBC this year.